To the layman, justice is as old as humanity. Security is as old as humanity, because the two are twin brothers, twin sisters. And even when we talk about the law, they are twin brothers. They mean they are, they are triplets. They move together. And therefore, you find that there is no way you can part the other. That is access to justice, the rule of law, and security. Like I've said, even in our own traditional setting, justice, rule of law, and security were in tandem. Although they were not written, but they were inculcated in people orally, practiced orally, but at the same time, they were printed on people's mind and heart. However, with the time, when colonialism set foot and the missionary work came to Uganda, we began to experience what we call now the current form of justice. And that's where many people tend to get distorted, because sometimes our regard for justice, the rule of law, and security are quite different, because ours are governed by norms, by culture, by rights. The others are governed by practices and precedences. And because of that divergence, you realize that somehow our cultural values, when they go in being devalued, we get lost. But coming to what you have said, justice just comes from the word just, to have just and fairness. It is a Greek word, I mean a Latin word, which was developed at that time when, you know, society began developing and they wanted to build a system that would ensure fairness. So when the colonialists came up, they also adopted the same as a means in which they can be able to use it as an administrative tool for regulation of conduct and especially the behavior of people. Now, when it was introduced here in Uganda, it was used alongside colonization and missionary work. Whereas colonization decided to put it in law, put it in writing, missionary work integrated it in the religious values. Two, whereas the religion, the colony would use the coercive instrument of the police to enforce it. Religion was persuasive in nature. And therefore, it would say, you know, when you don't do this, the Bible will do this. When you don't do this, God is seeing you, and the like. Whereas in Africa cut across. It involved both religion and these other practices. That's why when you did wrong, the structure of administering justice started all the way from home. A family. A father would sit his children, or elder would sit children in a home and say, please, my children, these are the do's and don'ts. Unwritten, by the way. But a child grew up knowing that if he did anything wrong, a sanction would be there. Either you would be denied food, or you would be given extra work to do, or you would be beaten, or you would be sat down and cancelled. So people grew up knowing as a means of fairness. However, as like I said, when colonialism set up foot, most institutions that were affected were not only our judicial system. Totally, our ways of life were distorted. And therefore, as such, we now got in the issue of the formal justice system. Now, when we talk about the formal justice system, we are talking about the 18 organizations that administer what we call access to justice for all. And amongst which, one is the police, because the police is the entry point to the criminal justice system. Then we have the judiciary, I mean, the DPP, we have the judiciary, we have the prisons, we have Uganda Law Society, we have access to, I mean, Justice Uganda Center, we have Legal Aid Clinic, we have even the consortium of NGOs. We have, those are
Justice, Law and Order
sector, which are 18,
Jealous.
yes, which are 18 in number. Therefore, we have come in at a time where we need to ensure that, one, people understand when we talk about justice. What is it? How do you get that justice which you want?
The fairness you're
The
looking for.
fairness, yes. Who is entrusted to do what? Now, unfortunately, in Uganda, because people get to understand that when you talk about justice, it means the unfairness you have been that has been inflicted on you. So whether it is criminal or not criminal for you, you are demanding for justice. Now, some of these other sectors, especially the police, does not deal with issues to do with civil cases. And in most cases, when people come to police, you find that their major concern is about compensation. Somebody has been beaten. At the end of it all, he wants to be compensated because it is him who has whose body has been inflicted on. Somebody has stolen, his property has been stolen. He says he wants to recover on his money, and when he gets it, he thinks that is justice. Another has been murdered. When you compensate, because he says even if we mourn, even if you do what, you are not going to bring back the person. So if we can sit and talk and then you compensate me, well and good. But our criminal justice system says no. Wait a minute. But before that, we adopted a criminal system which was a semblance of the culture and practices of the Indian society. And that's why our laws are a reflection of what India was doing at that time. But then they used it as a tool of coercion to be introduced.
Why do we get that of India, yet we are a British protectorate?
Yes, India was more civilized and had a more concrete criminal justice system. And that's why our basis of setting up criminal cases is from the penal code. And the penal code was entirely a transplant from Indian criminal system to the British. So by proxy or extent, because Uganda was colonized by Britain, it brought the entire penal code as it is and introduced it to Uganda here. So that's why you realize that when we talk about police administering justice, it brings a contradiction. It brings a misunderstanding. Like I've earlier on said, somebody has been beaten. But when it comes to police, he's a victim. When he goes to court, he's a witness. Now, who is the complainant? Government of Uganda. Now, this fails ordinary person to say, how? I am the one who has been beaten. Now you are telling me I am a witness. And at the same time you want me to spend money coming to witness in court by coming in, transporting myself. Maybe if I'm to eat, I have to buy whatever. So this makes somebody have a misunderstanding on what justice for that matter is. And as such, they begin complaining, somehow which they are right, because if I'm the one who has been beaten, how then does the government of Uganda become the complainant? But you see, that is the system.
Allow me at that point now, Carmen. Yes, you've given us a very rich background of justice in Uganda, the historical bit of it, and of course the various transitions that we've gone through now to talk about formal justice, which we are discussing today. And when you look at our topic, it is the cost of justice. Is justice only for the rich in this country? Now, help us understand. You've talked about the various players in the justice system. How and where does the process of justice, he who seeks fairness, start in this country? What channels must I go through because we may not look at the various forms of injustices committed. We shall look at there is defilement. The crimes are so many, like they appear in the annual crime report. So you may not be particular, because people are offended there everywhere in this country. You have the political ones, you have those that are for rape, defilement, theft, and all that. But what is the starting point for me who is pursuing justice or seeking justice?
One, you have given a lot, but one, like our umbrella organization, the jailers, our motto is justice for all. So it means or implies that whether you are rich or poor, you must get justice. What is justice? Getting the fairness when you have experienced infliction, either emotionally, physically, socially, economically, as long as there is a competent body that is entrusted to do that, and you get what you perceive to be fair, you'd have then attained justice. Now, the body or the entry point, there are two cases, there are two categories of cases, which I need our esteemed listeners there and viewers to understand. There is the criminal part, and then there is the civil part. Let me start with the criminal part. The entry point to any criminal matter in this country is through the police. Through the police. And what are the criminal cases? Those are cases that are believed to have offended the laws of the country. And therefore, they amount to a crime in that country.
Are there offenses that do not offend the laws of the country?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
And those are the ones which offend the individual. And those are the civil ones, where you can seek for civil redress. Now, when it comes to cases which are criminal in matter, it now becomes the onus of the police to begin, one, receiving those complaints and registers those complaints. Those complaints must relate to the following: one, safety; two, murder; three, threats to life or property; four, assault. Just like you have seen them the breakdown in our annual crime report. Those are the cases that we deal with.
Murder, assault, theft, defilement.
Yes, there are many. There are very many. Yeah, there are very many categories. So those cases are what we refer to as criminal cases in nature, and which entirely come to the police, and of which really I must applaud that we get so many Ugandans coming to report them. But like I've said, that there is a misconstrued in understanding when they believe that when they come, it is the police to ensure that they get instant justice. No way. Police is just an entry point. An entry point, because when we compile your report, when you compile cases from you, we take that file, what we call a case file, we take it to the DPP. That is the Saba Walereza, wa government. That is the government lawyer, who peruses through the file and then prefers that indeed this man or a woman is worth being brought to court. So from there, it becomes again the duty of the police to arrest the person. That is in case is not is on bond, because it is the duty of the police, upon assessing the evidence, that can be able to say, go on bond as we continue with the investigations, or maybe when your case file will come back. So after that, you take to court. After court, it is the court which adjudicates, and upon adjudication, it can determine whether to take you to prison or to acquit you. So that acquittal instantly implies justice has been administered, or the sentence per se implies that justice has been administered. But like I've said, many times our people, because of our cultural tendencies, because of what we have lived in to know, when somebody has been aggrieved, he or she instantly knows is going to be compensated. So when you tell him, you come to police, you give us evidence, they perceive it as wastage of time, they perceive it as police conniving with the complainant, or even the accused to fail. But secondly, we have got a lot of challenge because of the eptomized greed amongst some of our Ugandans. Because lack of honesty. People coming to give fabricated information, but in actual sense, he is distorting the facts on ground to propagate his attainment, his interest here. He gives either police or the judiciary or the DPP very wrong information. So somehow, when that wrong information is really premised on the law, we really prosecute such a person. And when you go, you realize that instantly with time that person is perceived to be ignorant, innocent. But in actual sense, the judicial system could have has done what they perceive to be fairness. So lack of integrity amongst our Ugandans, lack of really somebody coming to lie. But in the course of lying, he's giving very wrong. He has dressed lies he has dressed his complaint with lies, and you realize he's even crying beyond the
Now there we know that you're mandated to investigate as police. Yes, I may bring a report to you, and you have to investigate to come up with a file where the DPP can look through, peruse through, and say, yes, there is a charge we can prefer or not. Now let's look at the ability of police in the quest for justice to investigate cases.
Yes.
Because you're the door, you're the entry point.
Yes, our ability to investigate cases is unquestionable. Yes, it is. It depends on your line of argument. It depends on your level of whatever. But you know, what is the power of the police? The power of the police is information. It is the bloodstream of our management of cases. Now, if you don't give us the right information from the beginning, the law will be there to guide us. Let me give you an example. Various instances of land wrangling are fabricated cases. Various. Somebody saying, this land is of my grand. But you see, the land law, the Land Act, talks about the 4 categories of people. Now, among them are the Bibanja holders, the one with the lease, the one with the land title, the one with the... So those 4. Then the customary. Those 4. Now, here is a scenario where people have come to the extent of lying our system. Coming, for me, I am a Bibanja holder. Even these people, he even comes with so-called material and pours on somebody's land. And even destroys and says that man has brought goons to destroy. I am a Bibanja holder. Now, instantly, from the word go, somebody saying is a Bibanja holder, and the law is there. Do you mean to say that we shall not be able to investigate that person? And by the time we get all information, we would have done all the investigations, the compilation of the file, taking the man to court, and eventually even sentencing him. Then after some time, the man says, uyutwamumala, katugenda walala. Other times they even connive with the LOCs. To give them, and by law, the LOCs is a legal structure and authentic. And they're the ones whom we depend on, especially for any transaction at that level, although they are not the alpha and omega in any transaction. But respect. But now what happens? You find an LOC who is stamping on a transaction more than 4 times. For you as the police, you are not there. And when they know they have done something wrong, they even coach those whom you are going to gather information from. So that kind of arrangement, in a way, makes you, the IO, somehow stranded in ensuring that you can be able to administer justice for that matter. But nonetheless, we try to counter, and that's why our system has different levels. Like I've told you, when we come to police, you go to courts of law, you have a remedial means of appeal. So sometimes when there is a review at that appeal level, you realize that indeed some people have been exonerated, I mean, were victimized, but in actual sense they were not the real suspect for that matter.
In the quest for justice, Afanda Anatoli, still at police level, I would have questioned the judiciary, but they're not the guests I have in studios today, as we look at the quest for justice for all Ugandans, justice for all. But I will now spend more time at the police level. There has been very many accusations, allegations of corruption, that most of these would be great cases have not seen the light of day. That's why sometimes conviction levels are slightly low. And the judiciary has always said that in a good case, a well-investigated case comes before the judiciary, then it makes things very easy for them to expedite justice of that particular case. But most of the cases, or a number of the cases, are messed up by you men in uniform over some good money that comes to you. Many times people have said that much as police bond is a right, many of the times you've held on people beyond the 48 hours, yet many of the times they also say that you've released certain people who would maybe still be in custody for some purposes. Why are you corrupt as police?
Do you have evidence to that matter?
Well, we've seen various reports ranking you as the best in that area. When you look at the corruption index, looking at various institutions, for the last 5 years, I think you've performed very well in maintaining that top position as a corrupt institution in this country.
One, it is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate in a way that as per your deliberation, we are portrayed so. And indeed, I may concur with you or even disagree. And this is something that I would like my fellow officers who are out there to take very seriously. You know, we deal with the most downtrodden. The majority of people who come to police are those that really yearn for justice. But like I've told you, somehow because of the misunderstanding of what the police does, our mandate, people do not know the limitations of police, especially if somebody has come with a mind, say, I want to be compensated, I want to have my transport to be paid back, and you tell him, please, you don't have, I don't have the mandate to tell you to tell the culprit to give you money. Say, I did. And that's how sometimes that's how it goes.
There are times
so, I am coming.
nokyayiwanga ate wano
awo oba tolya
ndi mukola
kati bw'oba okola ng'olya oba oli corrupt
bwemba nkola nga ninda musaala gwange era nga bwe nniida
era
olina zompadde
there is no sisi omanya otya
kati mpa tugaye nti ndidde naye tolina kyompadde
si bye tuliko kati oyagala kufuna evidence kati what we are talking about here in this regard is that indeed, first of all, I want to inform our esteemed listener. You are not the first to talk about that.
Yes.
We hear them. But like I've said, the police is the entry point.
Yes. No
and
doubt
therefore, when our police officers do not handle our clients well, we definitely get such backfire. However, it is not a procedural requirement that every policeman or everywhere you go, you must pay money. Please get to know that the reason why we need everybody to access justice is because we are dealing with the impudence. Many not impudence, indigenous. These are people of the lowest status who require justice in this country. And therefore, it is incumbent upon us to ensure that they get it. Now, what you need to understand is that if there are those complaints, please do not set upper limits for us, because at the end of the day, it is not the institution that produces people who join it. They come from you. Embwa etwala masuntumalire ga mama wayo. How does the general society there behave amongst you people there? When you begin telling the police is corrupt, how do you behave towards each other? Now, if such a person learns how to be corrupt right from primary, even nursery, do you know that I have a child at nursery? But my child always says, Daddy, my teacher said, give me purple money. Purple money. Then when you say, what is purple money? He's meaning 10,000. For what? But we have a birthday party. Now, these are not requirements that you have set foot for. I mean, you have planned for. But a child is telling you. Now, this is a child in nursery. Look at this child from nursery, graduating both in academic level and even in age. He attains the age of consent at the age of 18, and therefore he has a decision to join the police. Do you think that...
Then he asks for people for a stone so that the wind doesn't take the fight.
Now, would you think it is the police which has implanted the issue of money in that child?
It may not be so, definitely. But also, we believe that the training a police officer goes through, and well knowing their responsibility, that you see, you're at the door of justice. People come to you seeking justice. And I want to hint on certain areas where police technically takes corruption. One, when instituting an arrest. Transport. They always have transport to get into Mukwate. You know, an arrest of a person is not free.
That is not technical.
Because someone will show that you're not bribing, but you're facilitating.
No. Please.
When you need papers.
When you talk of the word technical, it means it is one of the ways in which we must use to reach the end result or the end state. And therefore requires...
Because you're not asking me money directly.
No. That is your own arrangement with the individual, but not the organization. When you come to the police, did you go to the DPC to ask for police officers who should help you go and conduct an arrest? Or you bumped on somebody whom you found on the road and you said, you know, I found it, now when that is your own arrangement. If you think you have somebody who wants to be arrested, go to the DPC, go to the OCCID, go to the OC station. Now, if it is the OC station who tells you, leave here money for whatever, come and complain. We have referral mechanism of handling such errand police officers. But if you have your own arrangement there, bakuserera mukatale oyombesa kubo. No, that is your own arrangement.
Afande, it's justice for the poor.
It is justice for the poor, and the creation of a hierarchy in administration is meant to ensure that justice for the poor is attained. Do you mean to say when you are a head of a home, then they find a shaman man, said, Afande, gwada nyini makagalo, yenze. Afande, amini sebo, njagala nkokeyo, baji kukwata, bukwati wana yo, tobera mubbi.
So
when you go
but
to
when I'm dealing with an officer in a uniform with a flag of Uganda, what is that?
It is true. Naye abasajja basingagana. I have given you, you are a man in a home. Do you have a son?
Yes.
I have a son. Can my son be mistaken or be taken to be the father of the home? Because I am there. So why do you want my role to be played by my son when I have not given him the powers of attorney? We have, let me tell you, and I know you are asking that not because, but you are trying to tease me and at the same time invoking the mind of the listeners out there. What I want you who are out there to know, that every police division, we have only one commander, not commanders. And the commander is DPC. DPC, Divisional District Police Commander. He's the overall administrator and manager of both the physical and non-physical resources. So go to him so that he can be able to help you to ensure that when you have a complaint, he's the one we can look for. But even then, when you say all of this, whether the police is corrupt or not, what system have we put in place? We have a clear referral mechanism of addressing that. You have a policeman who is misbehaving, you have a policeman who is failing you to attain justice. The chief custodian of the police is the Inspector General of Police, for whom all of us are under. None of us is. So when you find that there is any complaint against a policeman, go there. But at the same time, he delegates his powers. The powers of handling errant officers is through PSU.
Anatole. Now you're talking of that is the Police Professional Standards Unit situated in Bukoto. I don't know, for some reasons, I must say, without fear of contradiction, that this was very vibrant. I remember by the days of visit Ndunguse, something, I'm trying to forget the name. John Ndunguse, when he was commanding it. Yes, Afande Barakama also tried, but for some time, I don't know if they have so much on them, but I must say, you rather go to court than going to PSU. The speed at which it works, then to a certain extent I've come to notice that also rank and file is still a problem at the Police Standards Profession Unit. I've taken their various complaints for various people. I remember one time there's something I was following up until this senior officer, the Lord called him, but was never resolved. That is where you're telling Ugandans to go.
Now, one, do you have some of the references so that I can help you also follow up?
I'll give them to you.
Yeah, please, you are privy, you can share with him. But two, let's have confidence in our organization. Now, let me tell you, there are murders in families.
Yes.
There are murders carried out by religious leaders. Have you stopped going to church?
No.
Have people stopped marrying?
No.
You see, everywhere there are challenges. But how do you manage a challenge when it comes up? I don't want you really to demonize our organizations. They are there. They may be having their challenges, but they do not fail. Now, it may be a personal bias, but you may find that millions of people there are very happy. Yesterday I was even moving, and I listened to them. They were talking about how organizations work. Three, the head of that institution, the head of that unit, is a senior commissioner, who is also my boss. So let's have really respect for them. But where you find that there is a challenge, I have told you,
they need to expedite the rate at which they are dealing or resolving.
Thank you for that feedback.
Please communicate to your boss when you go back.
Thank you for that feedback. But I want to give all assurance that the police does all what it, now, let me tell you, if we're not performing, we managed to get 218,000 criminal cases that were reported to police. Do you mean to say they were reported by us when we are only 45,000 in Uganda? It means Ugandans there have confidence in us. And this is the kind of confidence I'm telling you.
This is not all about not having confidence. This is all about knowing how best we accept their challenges. And you can only move forward when you accept that these are weaknesses and I must deal with them. So we are saying, for us to ensure that there is justice for all, what are those bottlenecks that are hindering Ugandans, are hindering justice to be for everybody? Justice in this country today, Afande, is expensive. How do we talk about cheapening justice for everybody? Apart from people who may get pro bono, how many people in Uganda today can afford a lawyer? How many people in Uganda today can go to a police station and see through a case till the end?
Within the sector of the 18, we have a number of organizations, like for example, Justice access to, Justice Center Uganda. Justice Center Uganda is a government organization that provides government lawyers, either you are in civil or in criminal cases, but you want to access justice. The president of Justice Center Uganda is Mr. Besigye Aaron, who sits here at Mengo. So if you have that, if you want that, then we have legal aid clinics. We have FIDA Uganda. We have a number of organizations. All of those are supposed to provide access to justice as lawyers for those who cannot be able to have legal representation. But even then, last year, I think last year or this year, last year, His Excellency, with the along with the Chief Justice of Uganda, launched an official alternative dispute resolution act. An act that is going to, that if you find it hard to access justice in this setup, can we explore our traditional systems? And I want to inform our esteemed listeners that our formal organization, or our formal arrangement, works with the cultural institutions, the religious institutions, and other setup that really have a lot of hope for the people. What we need is coordination and working within the law to ensure that this is explored. So please, all our esteemed listeners there is that exploration of an alternative, that when you find challenges in our system, our formal system, explore them. Go to the religious leaders, go to the traditional leaders. But you see, I told you something which you have omitted. What I fail most times is that people go for weddings in church. And you find that when they go for weddings, they make vows, they do what? They go to the mosque. Now, but when it comes to misunderstanding that they want to divorce, the first line of your exploration for how to divorce would be where you went to get wedded from. But you know what they do? They even undermine. They jump. Two, we have a clear legal Sharia law. If you have gone via marriage through the Muhammadan system and you want to separate, can you go and explore? But do you know what happens? Even when they wed and they were wedded under the Sharia law, they jump there. They begin running here, where? Greed, eptomized greed in the mind of people. And this causes confusion. There causes confusion in every institution. They go to the church, they go to the mosque, they go to Aradis, they go to police, they go to whatever. Simply because...
Quest for justice.
Not quest. Because at the end of the day, when you tell them, this is it, say, Tanyambi, Anzibi, what? Then when you begin looking for records, you get that this mere man whom you are facing was told the same thing. The only thing is misuse and abuse of what we think is our right. Now, you know, when you think you have a right, you are right, you tend to assume it is above other people's rights. That's why even when people have gone to court and they have even got a ruling, they want even to use it for abusing others with impunity, just because they think they have a right.
Are you trying to say, Afande, that when justice is not in our favor, of course one would say justice is finding a leveled ground, but how fair is that leveled ground also determines. So are you saying that Ugandans are not ready to accept the outcomes of justice that they seek for?
Yes, some of them. Some of them. You know, in psychology, we have categories of people, especially for us who receive them. There are those who are very hard. Very hard. One time I got a woman who was a lawyer. She was always beating her husband. Would you really assume in life that a woman who is a lawyer would beat her husband? But she was doing it. Now, the man said enough is enough. And they came to me when I was a community liaison officer at CPS. You know the nature of our chair, not like yours. I told the woman, please, can you have a seat? The man said, me? You? Tell me this. Why? No, 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 that is not. You wanted to, what do you mean to? What? Said, who has brought me here? You, and you want to listen to me? For an hour, the woman was trading insult on me. The husband was there, and the husband said, that is the hell I go through. And I realized she was a representation of millions of people out there who are of the same nature. And it's not only women. It is worse for men, by the way, especially for some men who have got some money. Did you see there was even a footage? There was one of the media houses I was watching. A woman who produced her own biological children. Eh? A man, her biological children, all of them well placed. But they are chasing out their mother. And the boy is even saying, he's not even a boy, he's even a man of human nature. He's even telling the mother, "Gwe, on a marriage certificate to Can you imagine? And you say that that man is demanding justice? In your view, is that man demanding justice?
Definitely not.
Now, is this woman whom I gave you, is she demanding justice?
She's come to seek justice.
No,
But
the
not
man is
ready
the
to go
one, the
through
man is the
that
one who
process.
came to me. But when calling one, some of us are disrespectful over our own system. We are very abusive over our own system. 2, we are driven by greed. 3, we are egocentric. We everything.
Would we also add on that the system has let them down and they
It
no
is
longer have
true.
trust
When I
in the
say
system?
Toyagaliza, it is not exclusive. Toyagaliza when we are in position. He, like you are here, so Toyagaliza, that kind of scenario. And this makes us fail in our own system. So because of that level of Toyagaliza, you want to pull. And the other one who doesn't, Bambi, he's challenged. So, all is not lost, our esteemed listeners. I don't want us to use this opportunity.
So as we come to the end,
Yes.
of course I must put the records straight. I've come several times to your office, not even a bottle of water have I gotten. So if you don't get tit for tat is a fair game, and that is justice in one way or the other. Now so what is the way forward, Afande?
Our way forward, one, I want to thank you for having taken this opportunity to bring me here on board. But I want to call upon every Ugandan, especially those who have taken time to view this program. Please respect our systems. 2, when it means justice for all, it means that even when you have gone there, but you have been listened to, but maybe what you wanted is not what you have got, that is still justice in itself. Therefore, respect the outcome. So there is always disregard for the outcome, and the people want to go for the unobvious, what you call mob justice. By the way, you did not ask me about mob justice. That word is not mob justice. It is mob action. Please stop.
Public court.
Yes.
Because
mob justice would mean that there has been a court of competent jurisdiction where the victim
has been sentenced
to in a just and fair manner, which is not the case, because none of you has the powers to do that. So I want to call upon you, let's respect. 2, we have put in place systems among ourselves, right from the police to courts of law. 3, there has been the enacting of the alternative justice system sector, where we have the non-traditional systems, the traditional system which have been brought on board. Please, if you feel you are grieved and you cannot come directly to us, there is a way we connect with them and work with them. 4, as we work and desire to maintain justice for all, please love each other. Stop maligning each other. And let's stop desiring to own everything. You think you can, just imagine, you are talking about you want to get away with me. But we are all on us. Where are you going to take me? So please, let's love each other. the entry point is love for each other, respect for each other, and let's even honor our motto. For God and my country.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Commissioner of Police, Afanda Anatoli Muletera, in charge of community policing. The big thing here is that let all the people in the line of administering justice do their work. Let's avoid issues like selective justice. Let's drive with corruption. And above all, let's expedite each of the processes, because justice delayed is justice denied. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow, God willing, for God and my country.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here